Kia ora, good evening. Welcome to the Guerin Report. I hope your holiday season is going fantastically, although if you're in the racing community, you might be busier than ever. Tonight on the show, something different. No big, chunky interviews behind the scenes. What we're going to do is take you through the next 3 or 4 days of a very busy time in the New Zealand racing industry. We have Auckland Cups for the harness horses. We have a huge day coming up at Ellerslie. One of the sweethearts of New Zealand racing is retired. And we have a record in harness racing that has stood for 31 years and stands no longer. But let's begin with Ellerslie. Of course, racing on Boxing Day there was first class, but the track crew need to turn the track around for the racing on New Year's Day. A wet morning in Auckland, they decided to move the rail out 3 metres. I decided, I've never seen that, and that means probably you at home haven't either. So Dan Scott, our cameraman, and myself and the Guerin Report crew went to Ellerslie to talk to Jason Fullford about how that is achieved and what sort of track we have now, nearly 2 years into the Strath Air Circuit, and what you're getting on New Year's Day. Okay, with Jason Fullford here at Ellerslie, obviously Boxing Day rail was here, Jace, and you've moved it out 3. So talk us through this. You move it out, and obviously these are what hold the rail up. So every time you move the rail, you have to take the actual rail off these and move these all individually, dig them back into the ground. There's no predetermined holes, and then put the rail back up again.
Correct. We just we start off with our tangent points, which is at each end of the straight. We put our stakes in, tie our string lines up, pull it nice and tight. We go by a string line. The rail is laid down on that string line. We have a 2-finger gap. That's our golden rule at each joint. Then the legs are pulled out and they are measured at 400 from the rail in.
Okay, so you ram this into the ground.
Yep.
And then the boys are going around, they're basically drilling it into the ground. Does it leave holes afterwards? Like once you take this back out, what happens to the hole where it went in?
If there was a hole left, which obviously there is, I'll pull it out and show you if you like.
Cool. It's
not a bad thing.
Can come and study.
Right. It's not a bad thing. It's just, I'll just keep my foot there so I know exactly where to put it. It's held up by that bit of angle line.
Okay.
They are hammered in, they're not drilled in. And Bob's your uncle, just like that.
So how long does it take from when you started this morning in the rain till when this entire thing's ready to go? So how long does it take to move the entire race course 3 metres?
About 5 hours. Okay. That's with a break, half an hour break in between.
Okay, and how do you know
it's a team of 4?
How do you know it's in the right place? Like, do you have it? How do you measure it for where it's exactly supposed to be and the curves?
Oh, well, luckily before we started moving the rail this morning, we started mowing, so the cut was already done.
Yep.
And when I'm just lying it around the bends, I'm just using what wheel mark is done from the mowing line.
Funny thing, isn't it, Jace? Because say 4 years ago, there's the rain we have forecast for this week or what's happening today. Everybody's panicking. Is it going to be a 7? Is it going to be an 8? Is it going to get heavy? We come back over here and this track, as much as I can tell underfoot, man, it's probably a 6. Isn't it amazing how it's developed probably in the last 15 months since you came back to racing the second time?
Well, that's right. We learn a lot right from the beginning. You know, it was quite touch and go right from the start. And of course, who would ever have thought that sand was going to go so compact when it was? Yeah. And that was the secret. That was the problem. The secret was we should have had that machinery going pretty much straight away. We're standing on a part here from around to the 600 that we actually had to verti-drain before the grass was even sown, because we should have known then that the sand could get quite compact, and when it rained it was almost washing different parts of the sand away. That was before the turf was even sown.
What's remarkable was after racing on Boxing Day, not a lot of marking on the track, and even now looking here, because obviously horses get out this wide, there's virtually no marking. Has it surprised you how resilient this track has become?
Yeah, it has, because during the day, during race days, our main work now is setting up for the 11s or 1200 rail moves, and we're there for emergencies or anything like that. Normally my team on the old track would be putting back by hand in between races and that.
So that's tufts that have come up?
Yeah, that's right, fixing it as we go.
And you don't have those now?
Nah.
Wow.
Nah, there's bugger all. As you can see, there's the racing strip. You can see where they've raced in here. But of course, we've got our turf, our grass is growing so strongly, which is, it's costly. It's a budget that the club has been prepared for. So its recovery rate is just outstanding.
Okay, so it teams down, because it feels like it's going to. I don't know much about weather, but it feels like it's going to rain pretty hard. If it teams down, what's the worst it gets to? Does it ever get to like a 7-ish unless it rains on race day, or is it always in that sort of 6 to 5 range, apart from when it's actually raining?
It's funny that this morning, how you just said it feels more like a 6. It is on that cusp of a 5 and a 6, and the purpose of that is only because just on Saturday we re-verti drained it. If it rains, we have come to a soft 7, and that is purely because of the rain that we had, which was a downpour on a race day. You give it 12 hours and there's no way it's going to stay at a 7.
Not you personally, but this track, this baby of yours, copped a lot of criticism way back 23 months ago. And I thought Paul was really good. He came on TV programs and told people the truth, and there was really good transparency. But there were still a lot of comments that hurt. You must be very proud of what it's become now.
If it wasn't for what it has become now, I wouldn't be here. I'd say I've failed. But no, I can hold my chin up quite high now with what we've learnt. I haven't done that on my own, of course. I've got a pretty good team with me, and a good support from the club itself.
Okay, well maybe they should buy you an umbrella. Hard to believe now the way Ellerslie is regarded. We had those concerns and worries just 23, 22 months ago. It is now obviously our best track, and you can see why. The hard-working staff there not having any holidays. We have 4 black type races coming up there on Thursday, the first race meeting of 2026. The first of the features will be the Group 2 Sky City Eclipse Stakes, a really strong 2-year-old race, and we have $2.90 each of 2 favourites. One of those is Harvey Wallbanger. So we enlisted the help of Brendan Popplewell making his Guerin Report debut to find out more about Harvey from trainer Tony Pike.
Well, Tony, we'll first of all talk about Harvey Wallbanger, and of course he finds himself in a fairly winnable Eclipse Stakes. Not being a crack a million horse, has this been his main target for the next few months?
Yeah, look, obviously when he showed us the ability he did early on, once he won at Ellerslie, we thought just try and get as much black time with him as he can. Obviously the first foal of Mai Tai, Wentworth Grange have retained him, and look, it's fantastic obviously for them and the mare as well, as long as he can get as much black type on his resume as possible.
He knows his way around Ellerslie, which is a big help too for the weekend. And how's he been handling his racing?
Oh yeah, he's a lovely horse, very laid back 2-year-old, held his condition extremely well. Look, his first 2 rounds, ultra impressive first up and extremely unlucky second up. So it's going to take a very good horse to beat him on Thursday.
Move on to Argo, a horse who's just starting to find his form now.
Yeah, look, he was plagued by bad draws sort of early in his career and got trapped 3 and 4 deep in a few races. Probably just starting to mature in his racing manners again a little bit better. Went a bit keen last start at Te Rapa, but obviously he's a horse that's progressing nicely. We'll probably run in the special conditions maiden over 1500 on Thursday, and look, outside of Golden Wings, it looks a winnable race.
He's a very impressive horse, Harvey. Let's look at the market for the Eclipse Stakes. These are some of our best 2-year-olds. Now, interestingly here, Harvey Wallbanger, who's 2.9 each of 2, alongside Incandescent, isn't eligible for the Karaka Million. So this is his early season final. We'll go back to his run at Counties behind a very impressive horse in Diarmas last time out. Coming from well back, enormous ground he makes up on the opposition. Yes, the winner was very good, but she's not there on Thursday. So a lot to like about Harvey, and this run makes me not as concerned by his wide draw in the Eclipse over the 1200 metres. Still, Incandescent was excellent winning on debut for Roger and Robert at Ellerslie. We love Ellerslie winning form. Not sure the 2.9s are spoiled just yet. Let's go back and look at that race. Also, coming from well back in the field, and I think it might start a bit longer because I think the money will come for Harvey, but hard not to be impressed by this. Also kind of hard to work out how this form lines up against what we saw at Counties. But again, strong through the line, impressive horse, ticks an awful lot of boxes and is Karaka Million eligible. Those two, each of 2.9. QEII for Te Akau. Here's an interesting one for you. Spoke to Opie Bosson the other day. He said, at the moment, if they ran the Karaka Million this week, this will be our best chance of winning the Karaka Million. It's $5. So that'll be interesting to see where it gets to when you consider Te Akau's record in the Karaka Million over the last 9 years. Good Eclipse Stakes. We should know more about this crop heading forward after race 3 on Thursday. On to the 7th. This is the 3-year-old fillies. Now they're finally stepping up to 2,000 metres. So the 3-year-old season has the first half, 1400s, 1200s, up to 1600 a course, and then the second half, 2000 running through to the Oaks, which of course this year has moved to Ellerslie late in February. There's 2 major form races here, but a surprise favourite. We'll go through the races first. Let's go back to the 8 Carat Hallmark Classic on Boxing Day. Most of the top runners here, the first 4 home, aren't in the Sir Patrick Hogan. So we're looking for horses who hit the line well. Oratia Beauty and the horse down on the inside in the Shan colours are the 2 who catch our eye the most. Like both their runs, Oratia Beauty in the green out wide, probably covering more ground, so therefore maybe the slightly superior run. But they're finishing on well, but you don't look at it and go, well, that'll just bolt in over 2,000 metres. So they are in the market. That's Oratia Beauty and Dance the Night. Pulsatilla was just behind them in 7th, was pretty good. But there's also good form around Origin of Love. Second in the Eulogy behind War Princess at Trentham. Before that was 5th in the 1,000 guineas at Riccarton. So that's good form. Now you ask yourself, is this horse going to handle 2,000 metres? I get the feeling Te Akau wouldn't have it here if they didn't think it would. The winner's a pretty good horse. She's going to the Karaka Million 3-year-old. They distance the rest, as they probably should. But if you go back to that 5th, behind Well Written, in the 1,000 guineas, Origin of Love is clearly a very smart horse. Schnitzel, well, you might say a Schnitzel's not bred to go 2,000 metres, but of course, a Schnitzel won the Hong Kong Derby this year over 2,000 metres. So lots to like about her chances. Surprise favourite though. I hope he wins. Spoke to Andrew Scott and said, what do you make of this? It's a maiden coming out of a really strong performance at Te Rapa. He was like, wow, I didn't know we were the favourite. They expect it to handle 2,000 metres. They love the horse, and there's quite a few maidens in the field, but really surprised she's come up 2.8, even though we're sort of flying at the moment. That is quite tight. I think Origin of Love may be a better each way bet. On to the QEII Cup. Now, we lost Sharp and Smart, the Waikato Cup winner, out of this field today, and that means that Tees is incredibly short. Even money for the stunning last start winner. Talking about the Waikato Cup, Sharp and Smart may be gone, but the 2nd and 3rd from that race 2.5 weeks ago, well, they are here and both were good. Gigi and the Odyssey outside Sharp and Smart here, goes up to win. Sharp and Smart fights back. Gigi pushes really hard and the Croatian colours through just in behind them. But on this, you would say they've had their chance to run down Sharp and Smart, and they couldn't. So 2 really good, strong runs over the 2,400 metres. They're battle-hardened for what lies ahead, and it's not a big field. So clearly they are chances. But is that form any better than this? Here's Tees at Trentham for Al Sharrock. Now, most importantly, the horse in the black and white colours has been to Ellerslie. We like to back horses at Ellerslie who have won there before. That box is ticked. This is ticking the Am I a Class Stayer box by a very, very big margin. Typical Alan Sharrock, finding the right race, getting a horse ready at the right time, and then having a performance like this, which it can't be re-handicapped for. So this is impressive, and that's why you're getting even money for Tees and the QE2. Close enough to the mark. I'm not sure I want to be taking much shorter than that, but it's going to start favourite. The question is then, what are you willing to take? I'd want 2.5. I'm not sure it's going to be turning up. One of the features of the day, the highest stakes race of the day, is the Rich Hill Mile. So Smart Love, this is a great story. We'll talk to Lance O'Sullivan shortly. Angela Jones, who's never ridden in New Zealand, coming from Queensland to ride Smart Love, who was luckless last time in the J Swap at Te Rapa. Tuxedo beat her home on that occasion. So let's go back and look at 2 or 3 of the key runs here. Tuxedo's coming wide in the black and white. We know how good Tuxedo is, finished second in the Karaka Million 3-year-old last year behind Dabask Rose. Checkmate gets a bit of a squeeze here, gets squeezed out of it. Not sure it was going good enough to be a factor. And then, of course, Smart Love's the one behind the bunch in the Waikato stud colours. So Tuxedo really good, winning this, running second in this. Smart Love unlucky. But in this race, Tuxedo carried 2 kilos more than Smart Love and was better than it to the line, I thought, or at least as good. They're both on 53 on Thursday. So Tuxedo, I think, even though Smart Love's really short at 2.7, I think Tuxedo is the better bet. He's 4.2 and gets 2 kilos back off Smart Love for this. She's a Dealer, a very emerging horse by Ace High at 4.2. So that market quite compressed. Lance O'Sullivan and Andrew Scott, of course, in sensational form. We wanted to talk to him about Angela Jones coming to New Zealand, about their chances in this race, and of course, another Australian-based jockey coming over to ride for them this week, Tomodachi, with James McDonald and the Telegraph coming up at Trentham on Saturday. So here's Lance O'Sullivan giving us his thoughts on a big couple of days for the stable. Lance, the team is flying. A newcomer for Wexford on New Year's Day, Angela Jones, coming in from Queensland to ride Smart Love in the Rich Hill Mile. How did that come about?
Well, it sort of came about. We're looking for a lightweight rider, and Gary wanted a good jockey, and we sort of, Andrew actually, well, it was actually Andrew's idea that, you know, she's been leading rider in Brisbane, very competent horsewoman, and rides extremely well. So a call was made to her, and she accepted the offer, and she's going to be here New Year's Day.
Have you met Angela at all?
No, I haven't actually, but Andrew has, and he said she's a very nice person.
Okay, pretty smart horse, Smart Love. No luck last time. You've also got Checkmate in the Rich Hill Mile. Pre-draws, any idea who you favour more on performance?
Oh, look, I think you'd have to say Smart Love. She's been a model of consistency, and with the other horse, Checkmate, look, he's had 2 runs back. He had a run in the spring in the Group 1, and he was probably, we believe he certainly wasn't at his best on that occasion. And the other day, look, he got caught a bit deep, and it was on a day where it was sort of up and in and on pace, and he sort of didn't get any rub of the green. You know, he's going to have to improve a little bit on that performance, but he's certainly a well-worthy contender. We think at his best, you know, he's, as I say, he's worthy running in the race, and he gets around Ellerslie extremely well.
Okay, the Telegraph is just around the corner for a very busy week of racing here, and another Australian-based rider coming home. Now, this is a bit of a bonus. Sir Peter's got James McDonald to come home to ride Tomodachi.
Yeah, that's correct. Look, that was through, of course, Sir Peter and Gary Cossey, and is, well, I suppose, his stepfather-in-law, you could say. But, you know, to have James on, it's a big plus, and we certainly with no complaints from us having him, although in saying that, the guy who's ridden him up until now, he's done a terrific job with her, and I'm certainly going to get his opportunity again. But to have James on board, you know, he's a big race rider. He wins those races, and she's a very capable mare.
What have you made of her trials? Because you went in freshest to this race last year with Grail Seeker, who we'll talk about shortly, and got the job done. Is she trialling comparable to where Grail Seeker was this time last year?
Yeah, I believe so. You know, she trialled at Taupo where she got going a bit keen, and she had to lead them up, and she kept up a good gallop and won that heat. And of course, the other day at Matamata, Joe was able to restrain her, and she was always under a nice hold and worked to the line particularly well. So we believe she's going as good as she can go.
A lot of people would put you and James in the top 5 New Zealand jockeys of all time, but I can't remember him riding too many winners for Wexford.
No, and when you say top 5, geez, I'm pleased you're comparing me in the top 5. The big gap back to the fifth,
top 3.
The fifth jockey is a big gap back. But look, James hasn't actually been on many of our horses in the past. I can't even recall if he's ridden a winner for us, but I mean, you know, to have him on, as I say, it's a huge bonus.
Grail Seeker trying to defend her Telegraph title. Different type of preparation from last year, like she was obviously an established Group 1 winner in the spring last year. The trials look good.
Yeah, trials have been good. The team believes that she's back. Her runs, after she won the Telegraph last season, her runs have been, way below what we believe she's capable of. I think, she lost a bit of weight and she was probably racing about 20 kilos lighter than what she is now, and we believe that weight on her will be a good assist. And she's big, she's strong. Her trial the other day at Matamata was particularly good, and she's certainly not far away from her Group 1 form.
All right, let's put them in neutral barrier draw. Say they draw 6 and 8. They're close enough to each other. Pre-track conditions, who do you think's your best chance of winning the Telegraph?
Look, both of them will handle the track no matter what it is. I think probably a bit of give both of them would like, to be honest. But I think as far as who's got the best galloping ability, probably Tomodachi, but she certainly hasn't got the mentality of the other mare. On a day, if the real Grail Seeker turns up in the same form she was last season, she's going to take all the beating in the world.
Question I had to ask you after the first at Ellerslie on Boxing Day, because the Frankel filly was so good. I know other people will be thinking this. Filly's partially owned at home by Bridget. Is it a filly who would be on the market for the right sort of money?
No, look, it's a long story, the ownership. I won't go into it, but no, it's should be a filly that should be raced through. And look, she's a filly. She only had the one trial early on, and she actually surprised us a bit with what she did that day. And she's done not a lot of work in the interim leading into today, and she just runs along beside her mate. But I think to do it on a race day today was pretty encouraging.
The barrier draw for the Telegraph comes out earlier than usual this week on Tuesday, so tomorrow morning. I'm with Grail Seeker, even though Tomodachi, I'd love to see a win for Sir Peter Vella and James McDonald. I think Grail Seeker was so good this time last year winning this race, and I really love the recent trial. Just to remind you, here she is winning her second Group 1 in the blue and yellow colours, coming from last in the Telegraph last season. They have really treated her with kid gloves since. If this version of Grail Seeker turns up, I'm happy to be on at $6, and I think she's a horse not too concerned by the barrier draws, but what a race it's going to be. Tomodachi, Crique, and a whole bunch of good horses, Platinum Award being another one. The Telegraph seems a long way away, doesn't it? It's 5 days. It's coming up on Saturday, the TAB Telegraph out of Trentham. Before then, we do have Group 1 harness racing action. Alexandra Park holds their twilight meeting on Wednesday, starting at about 3 o'clock. The big one is the Cup. Republican Party versus Merlin. He's the defending champion Republican Party. He won the Invercargill Cup just 10 or 11 days ago. He's back to repeat the double-double. We caught up with Cran Dalgety, who knows all about winning big races, and asked him, are we getting a better version of Republican Party for this Auckland Cup than we were for last year? Well, Cran, a remarkable 2025 for Republican Party. How's he bounced out of what's been a really busy time, including racing just 10 days ago at Invercargill?
Well, I should know him as well as anyone, but he's actually surprised me for the good of how he's recovered from Invercargill. And as you know, we had an 11-day gap from that race to being at Alexandra Park for the Auckland Cup. So he did go to the canvas, and understandably with the effort he put up, but he has made an amazing recovery, and he's as good as ever again.
Okay, he's 6 now. He looks better as a 6-year-old than he did as a 5-year-old, which is a big comment because as a 5-year-old he won both the Invercargill Cup and Auckland Cups last year. Does he feel stronger?
He definitely, in his physique, he's a percentage up. As you know, he's not a big horse, he's a small, short-legged horse, but his body is actually bigger. He's probably, from this time last year, he'd be 14 to 15k heavier, which you think, oh, is that down his fitness? But it's actually made him stronger for it, and in training, he feels accordingly.
What do you make of the TAB having $1.40 to win an Auckland Cup? It's very rarefied air for any open class horse to get down that short.
Well, it's something I probably didn't want to see because not that I get myself nervous, but but I just hope all those punters are good judges. But yeah, it's in all respect the other horses, it's probably not really fair for them to be $1.40 in a Group 1 race a week out. But we'll take it as a compliment that there's a bit of pressure involved, and we'll soak it up and run with it.
In the New Zealand Cup, he had one of his few, I wouldn't say off performances, but one of his few unplaced performances of 2025, over 2 miles from a standing start, and Merlin beat you home. When you look back on it now, what do you make of that New Zealand Cup performance, and what do you see out of that for punters heading into Wednesday night?
Yeah, that was an interesting one because that's one where I did scratch my head a lot on. Going into that event, I thought he was going to put up a great performance, which he did. But when you said they went 3:54, and the horses that beat us were 2 superstars in Australasia, not just New Zealand. But interesting enough, which I hate to say, but he came out 3 days later and put up a bigger performance than he did in the Cup. So the run probably made him better. But yeah, it was a little percentage lower than I would like to have seen.
Do you think Merlin is the horse for you to beat this week? Because over the course of their careers, it's actually 7-5 to Merlin from their 12 clashes.
Yes, no doubt. And with recent form, he won very good here at the park the week earlier, and so he's running on 7-day form rather than form for months out. So naturally, he is to be very much respected.
Been a massive year for Kentuckiana, and a huge part of that, of course, is Carter, your and Chrissy's son. He's in a battle for the Junior Drivers' Premiership that may not be decided until Wednesday. You said something interesting to me the other day. You said, we would love Carter to win, we'd be enormously proud of him, but Wilson House is a good young man too, and if he happens to come out on top, well, so be it.
That's a very fair comment. Naturally, me being dad of Carter, sure I want him to win. That's only human nature, of course, but we have a lot of respect for Wilson. The miles he's done, the workload he puts in, and a hell of a popular guy. It was a dead heat, would probably be the greatest outcome.
All right, 2025 is coming to an end, Cran. 2026 around the corner. If we could give you any race you could win in the world in 2026 with any horse, what would it be?
Well, being a Kiwi, I suppose is an answer where a lot of people could sort of run me at $1.04. Love to win that NZ Cup. I've been very fortunate to win a lot of big races in Australasia, but just got away on me that one, but I will get it.
He's $1.40 Republican Party, Merlin 4.5. Hold off on backing the fave. I think he'll drift to $1.50, 60 or maybe more Wednesday night coverage on trackside. Talking about harness racing, a momentous occasion, and of all places, Westport on Sunday, where Team Telfer set a new record for training wins in a season, 169.
Ultimate Council's at the top of our Santana mark. Electric King Blackjack, good old days arriving late in the piece. Electric King the inside, trying to go again, Ultimate Council, but it's Electric King. It's a record that stood for 31 years. It stands no longer. The Telfer team have got the record in the bin.
More on Steve and Amanda Telfer next week. He is the subject of our interview on the Guerin Report. We find out more about the record setters. But as we leave you tonight, and we'll be back next Monday at 8 p.m, we leave you with one of the beautiful, brave mares of New Zealand racing. Crique has run her last race after winning $2.1 million and 9 wins for the Cassins and the trainers Katrina and Simon Alexander. We say farewell to Crique with her best winning performance, the Arrowfield Stud Plate. Happy New Year. We'll see you next Monday.
600 metres to go, and the Arrowfield Stud Plate Group 1, and the pacemaker Crique has slipped through on the inside to take the lead. Where's Imperatrice? She's starting to loom up on the outside, and behind them then we've got Vernon Me, followed by Deerfield. Crique went for gold at the 250. She's clear by 3 from Imperatrice. Vernon Me, Deerfield, further back Mustang Valley. It's Crique to the roar of the locals. She's got 4-5 lengths on them here. Shut the gate. The Arrowfield Stud Plate is all over. Crique back in Group 1, winning form, second at the line. Photos Predefer and Mustang Valley. What a win. Number 11, Crique. The mare by Vadamos out of Destiny Cove. For John and Jan Casson, Simon and Katrina Alexander, and Craig Grills. And she had them off in Nicola Fairway from home in the Group 1.